Hey there, comic book fans. I'm back from the comic shop again this week. 6 comics I got this week, plus a book and a little something off of eBay I'll show you. But let's start off with the top of the printer museum comics. We have got giant-sized superheroes starring Spider-Man, issue number 1. This is a Gil Kane and John Romita cover. It's a little creepy, with that werewolf and vampire ripping Spider-Man's costumes to tear out his throat. That one's creepier than your average 1970s cover. And this is Point of Impact, issue number 4 of 4. It was a mini-series from, it says, 2012. And I think Corey Coronel is the artist. And he probably did the cover, too. I think it was an all black and white comic. Just found it on the shelf, decided to pull it out and have these two sitting on top of my printer this week to look at. Now we'll replace them with 2 other new ones. And this is the book, Chester Brown by Frederick Byrne Kohlert. And it's from University Press of Mississippi. I like that cover. Chester Brown is, of course, the cartoonist who did a book called Yummy Fur. And this is a concise overview of the renowned comics creator behind Yummy Fur, Ed the Happy Clown, I Never Liked You, Louis Reel, and Paying for It. There's a little overview of Chester Brown and his work. I figured I'd read that. It cost me $15 for this book. Like I said, I think it was it's in a series from the University of Mississippi. This is like book 5, volume 5. But this is like the other 4 volumes are 4 other people, not cartoonists or anything. Just 4 other people. So I figured I'd give it a read. Why not? He ordered a cut. The owner of the LCS ordered for a copy himself and a copy for himself and 1 extra. So I figured I'd get the 1 extra. Why not? Then we got some Chris Geruso covers. We got 2 Chris Geruso covers this week. Last week we got 4. The week before we got 4. So that means I now have 10 of the 16. These, of course, is done by Chris in his style after the original Handbook of the Marvel Universe covers, which were done. I think John Byrne may have done some of these. It says after. After John Byrne and Joe Rubinstein did these originally. And I also just pre-ordered last week. He showed, I think it's Oni Press, does a Toxic Avenger comic. I can't remember who does it now. Maybe it's not Oni. And Chris did a cover like this of the Toxic Avenger universe. A pinup. It's not the cover of the book, but it's inside. It's a pinup. So I pre-ordered that too. So there's one. That's Power Man, Timeless, number 3. And this is Exceptional X-Men. The other Chris Geruso cover. We got Sandman there, She-Hulk, Sasquatch, Must Be the S's, Sentinel, Shanna. So, bought them just for their covers. I'll read the comic too, but they'll go in my. Looks like, and they connect with each other, but They're not coming out in order. But looks like those are Wolverine's claws or something connecting to that one. I wonder if they are Puck, Power Man. So I got those 2. Then let's see my regular stuff. Well, as regular as the 3rd issue of a series can be. Mine is A Long, Lonesome Grave. This is the story about a guy who got out of prison, went back to his old hometown after 20 years, and someone who didn't like him, some criminal who didn't like him, put a curse on him. So now he's got to kill, I think she's like an old woman, matriarch of a family. Boom. He's got to kill that old woman to release the curse, or he dies from the curse. So it's a coming home story. It's a you can't go home again story. Who's doing this one? Justin Jordan, Ilan House. I can't read that. I think it's Ilaan. No, it's Maan. Illustrated by Maan House. There you go. I don't remember that name from last issue. But I assume this is a mini-series because he's either going to die or, let's see, what does it say? No, it doesn't. He's either going to die or, go away. Then we've got issue 4 of the Fantastic Four facsimile edition. They're putting out the first year, 12 of these as facsimiles. I figured I'd get them just because it's kind of cool. I like them as individual issues. Facsimile means all the ads and the original ads and stuff are in here. The original letters page. They're putting these all out as like a collected edition too. I don't think I'd like them as a collected edition. If they're going to have the ads in them, I want them as a facsimile. I don't need a facsimile collected edition. That just doesn't make sense to me. But had fun with the first 3 issues. Let's see what else we got here. Rogue Sun, issue number 26. Looks like Radiant Black is teaming up with him in this. Because they both take place in the same universe. Who does this? Parrot, Cotton, Abel, Frenda, Marquez, and Carrie. Previously in Rogue Sun. It gives you a big previously, too, in case you want to know what's been going on, because I don't remember. Where's their actual names? Yeah, I don't want to search the whole thing. That's close enough as you're going to get. I think the one named artist Abel is actually doing the art in this, if I remember correctly. But Rogue Sun's a superhero story about a guy who he inherited his superpowers from his father, his estranged father. So the whole series is about him dealing with having superpowers and being a superhero. Usagi Yojimbo, The Thousand Plums, Part 2 of 5, or Legacy numbering 281, closing in on 300. By the way, I was just looking at my database of comics, and Usagi is the comic I have the most issues of. Not the most issues of in a row or anything like that. Well, probably the most issues of in a row, too, but the most issues of, period. I have Usagi Yojimbo. With all the miniseries and things, I think it was over 300 issues. Because he's had some like Space Usagi and other things like that. So I think it's actually maybe just slight. I can't remember, but I have more issues of Usagi Yojimbo than any other comic book series. So I like it, and I'm going to continue to buy it. And here is what I got off of eBay. It's Vince Melcaric Jr. Memorial Comic. This came out in '93. Vince worked at Marvel Comics. He was one of Romita's Raiders, who were like assistants to John Romita. They did any art corrections Marvel needed, and John Romita, they worked right under John Romita, sort of as his apprentices. He also drew What If Volume 2, Number 13. There's a piece from there. But he died an untimely death back in 1992. Like I said, I knew him a little bit. I wasn't especially close with him, but I knew him from around the office. He was a good guy. And there's a Paul Chadwick back cover. I think he went to school at the Art Students League, because it says that up there. But I never knew this was out till I saw it on like one of my Facebook groups briefly. And I was like, oh. So I went on eBay to see if I could find one. And like most, when you're trying to find a single issue on eBay, it's usually, even like a nothing, nobody knows about it issue, it's usually like $4 or $5 for the comic and $4 or $5 for the shipping. So for $12, I got 14 copies of this. $12 shipped and tax and everything up there. And it's got stuff like, that's a portrait of Vince by John Romita. And it's got other stuff. There's a William Stout drawing. He did a drawing for this. So I got this I'm going to pass them out to some people who might still know him. There's a Jimmy Palmiotti drawing. That's a Clive Barker Scarecrow, I think. But I just figured I'd get it just to remember Vince. So I got it, and like I said, just because I never knew it existed, I figured I could get it and have Miss You, stuff like that. I think he was 29 when he died. Yeah, November 1st, 1963 to September 13th, 1992. He died of like a brain aneurysm or something. I don't know if we ever got the official verdict. There's some sketches from his sketchbook, but got a bunch of these now. I'm going to pass them out. Let me show you a little of my artwork. What do we got back here? Dreams of Things, issue number 275, with the big radiant pyramid in the back. Usually I don't have radiating lines go down the pyramid. That one jumped out at me right there. One of my Mod Man type characters, lots of faces down there. This one's got a weird space to it because it's almost bisected right in half. I don't think I'd do that a whole lot. Usually the horizon line is either down the bottom or at the top, not right in half. That's a strange one. I just put in a new order at Dick Blick last night, so you'll see a new unboxing art supply video probably this weekend. But that just reminded me because I bought a couple of new Pantone pigment markers. So I don't know why that blue reminded me of the first Pantone pigment marker I bought. I bought a blue one with my last order last month. Now I bought a red and a yellow one, so we'll try those out. Maybe on one of these. All right, well, there you go. Some artwork, some comic books, a little in memoriam to Vince, and you guys have a good week out there.